Hello folks, today I want to make a guide for Dungeons & Dragons Online in case you want to start playing this amazing, very old game that is not Dungeons & Dragons anymore. It's kind of a mixed version of an hack and slash and some weird rules. So today we're gonna take a look at the fighter because it's a very simple class, and I think with the recent updates of the second wind that you can heal yourself, it's a good class. It's not the easiest to play, but it's also the easiest to make mistakes with. Now the first thing we're gonna do, this is a builder in case you don't know, so I don't have to go into the game. So we're gonna play with Testiculus. You're gonna want to play as a human, ideally, because you don't know the game. You're gonna have a 28 points build. Later on you can unlock the 22 points, but for now you're probably gonna have the 28 point build. Alignment is important. We need to be lawful good because this is not going to be your pure class build, and it's a beginner friendly build, by the way. So lawful good will give us penalties when using anarchic weapons because we are lawful and law doesn't vibe well with anarchy. And we're going to have problem using evil weapons. For some reason, if you want to use them. Now, your starting ability points are going to be 16 points in strength, 16 points in constitution, 10 intelligence, and 14 charisma. Now the reason for that, I am not a crazy psychopath. We're going to be taking 2 paladin levels, and it's going to be an 18 fighter and 2 paladin for a very simple reason that maybe the more veterans will understand, but for now, just go with it. So once we've distributed the stats, every level up goes into strength. Obviously, we are a fighter. We want to beat things with stuff and probably kill them. So the first feat we want is the fighting stance. Now, I do not recommend going with shield, sword and shield. I do recommend going with the two-handed fighting feat. So we need to figure out in here where it is. If I can find it, it's gonna be in two-handed fighting. Is that? There you go. It was at the bottom of the list. So that's the first feat we're gonna take. It requires you 15 of strength. We have 16. That's perfectly fine. So this thing allows you to get more damage from your strength modifier. So eventually that's gonna give you like 3 points of damage for what 2 points of strength. Something like that. I don't remember specifically, but it's also going to give you, most importantly, strike through. Strike through gives you the ability to attack more than one target at a time. So if you have 100 strike through, you're going to attack for certain 2 targets. With 60 strike through, you're going to attack 1 target and you have a 60% chance of attacking a second one. That also means if you land an ability, it's going to take into account strike through. So if you trip an enemy, with strike through, you trip 2 enemies and whatever. You also gain a minor combat bonus to melee power. 2% is just, might as well not be there. Now, there are a few schools of thought for the next feat selection. We're human, so we have an extra feat. And we did not choose a fighter, right? Did I choose a fighter? Unknown, yes. I probably should take a fighter level. You know? Just, yeah, that's... Give fighter levels to everything. Okay, I'm gonna just change the last 2. So we have 2 feats. We have a fighter bonus feat and another human bonus feat. If you don't start with a human, you have 1 less feat. So as a fighter bonus feat, now you can take power attack. For heroics, that's gonna be great because enemies really don't have much fortifications unless they are skeletons or undead. Generally undead are immune to criticals unless you can bypass their fortification, which is why you will want to use precision. But for now, we don't need precision. And I don't even think we can use it because we might not have the dexterity required. It's not a big deal if you don't have precision. Really, it's not as big as a deal as people make it out to be. You get a 5% bonus to attack, but you will notice it only on legendaries, so whatever. Go with power attack. It's great. It gives you a big attack bonus. This gives you a penalty of 5 to your attack rolls. And then you can increase your damage. The amount of damage you get is twice the amount you get if you use a two-handed weapon. So you get 10 points of damage if you use a two-handed sword, for instance. The next feat selection, this is an optional. Now, you can, if you go, and that's up to you guys, if you want to go with a bastard sword, you can take a feat here for a proficiency with bastard swords, which should be right here. Now, if you wanted, you could take the dwarf and play with a dwarven axe, so you don't have to take the bastard sword. So this feat is basically replaced by the dwarven axe proficiency. If not, take bastard sword, go with a bastard sword and a shield. I do not recommend it because you're gonna be bored to death. So the next feat we're gonna take is very important for a fighter. It's weapon focus, slashing weapon. We need this in order to progress on the Kensei enhancement skill tree. The Kensei enhancement skill tree is the DPS side of the fighter skill trees. The other skill trees are the stalwart defender and the unnameable skill tree. So at level 2, we're gonna have to pick up another feat. And in this case, we're gonna pick up stunning blow. Now, you remember guys, you are a fighter, so tactics are your bread and butter. And because we'll be fighting with a two-handed weapon, you will be able to eventually stun 2 people, trip 2 people, and you'll be happy. Now, for the third level, I'm gonna go ahead and select a feat. You could take Force of Personality if you really wanted, but I don't see the point in that. Let's see what I can give you. Because I have to take into account that this is a beginner-friendly build. So, in here we don't have much. Shouldn't we be able to take the tactical training? I am a little bit confused. It's okay, guys. We can take a cleave if we... Oh! I know. Let's do this. I was thinking about... Yeah, let's give you a Force of Personality. So if I take Force of Personality, you will go from -1 will save to +2 will save, to +3 will save. You have a -1 penalty on will. +2 will save, yeah. If we switch to Force of Personality, you're gonna get a +2 to will saves. And because we're gonna go Paladin, we're gonna bump it up to an additional 6 when we have the charisma item, because 2 levels of Paladins will give us access to 2 times 3 points of charisma modifier to our saving throws. That's big. So we have lots of feats. We can expand this one. We don't need cleave because we already have the strike through chas. Now you can skip this one if you don't care much about the will saves, and you can take cleave to have an easier time leveling up the early levels. It's a frontal cleave attack. Nothing crazy about it. You can take this and great cleave and be happy. In fact, you know what? Perhaps it's not such a bad idea to give you this one. And you're gonna use this mostly during the heroic leveling process. So, you know, you go into a group, you start dealing damage. Let's go with cleave, because why the heck not? And here is where things start to get interesting. Now, I want to take tactical training. You might notice it gives me +2 bonus to all tactical DCs. You might say it's just a +2. That's 10% because a dice roll is on a 1d20. Each side of the dice equals 5%. Why? Because 100% divided by 20 sides, that's 5%. With obviously the 1 and 20s, obviously. So level 5 we get nothing. Level 6 we can choose our improvement to the 200 fighting. So we're gonna go here and look at the E, improved 200 fighting. And by the way, you can use a dwarven axe with this build if you are a dwarf. You don't need to take the shield expertise if you want to go dwarven axe and shield. You can use a tower shield and a dwarven axe. This will work anyways. So as the extra fighter feat, Let's see what we have here. Now, Knight's Training, useless for our build. Sword to Plowshares, useless for our build. We have Weapon Specialization, Slashing Weapons. That's a +2 damage, but using a slashing weapon and a +2 stacking melee power, we're going to take this one. Next, level 7, we have nothing. Level 8, we can take another feat. Level 8, we can take Greater Weapon Focus, Slashing Weapons. And I think that's the one we need for the enhancement tree in the Kansei thing. Now, level 9, we obviously need to take the Improved Critical. Improved Critical allows you to get double the initial bonus of your weapon critical threat range. So for instance, a longsword has a 1920, that's a 10% critical. With improved critical, that becomes 20%, so it goes to 1720. But if your longsword, let's say, has an improved critical profile, so it starts with 1820, you don't get to go at 15. You still get a +2 because it takes into account the base weapon class critical profile. So by default, a mundane longsword has 1920. If you find a magical longsword that for some reason without any keen or any attributes starts with 17, you don't get that super huge critical. You just get to 1520. So take this one because it's good. We're gonna be using a greatsword, which is at 1920 times 2. Now, for level 10, we're going to be taking something else. We have the Tactical Combatant, and that's what I want to take because it gives me +4 to my tactical DCs. And tactical DCs are my life. As a fighter, you will need to stun all those champions if you play on Elite or Reaper. You cannot stun Reapers. So, this on the subject of Reapers is a delicate subject because the fighter has no counter to Reapers. You cannot trip a Reaper, you cannot stun a Reaper. If you have a Tower Shield and a Bastard Sword, you can take the stunning shield from the Vanguard tree and reliably stun Reapers, but you can only stun one Reaper. So please be aware of that. Stunning shield works on everything, it's amazing. But if you play with friends, please do that. If you don't, you're gonna be bored to death by using a sword and shield build. As for level 11, we get Nada. Level 12. This is where you're gonna get Greater 2 Weapon Fighting. This is a great feat, and I think I also want to take... there's so much good stuff here. Now, there is also Tactical Master. What? How can you take Tactical Master? Okay, well, I believe you, game. Oh, because we took that at 10. Okay, yeah. It makes sense, guys. Sorry, I got confused there. I thought we could take this one and this one at the same level, but I forgot we got 2 levels. So Tactical Master is amazing because it gives you bonus to all tactical DCs. Now we should also level up our enhancement trees, if I can find them. Can I find them? View, do we have enhancement trees here? Yeah, there you go, thank you. Alright, this is the enhancement tree. So we got to level 12. This is where this fun starts, because at level 12, we can get the entirety of our skill tree. So we start with the Kansei. We choose the heavy blades because we were going with a 2-handed sword. If you want to go with a great axe or a falchion, please pick the relevant focus in here because this will determine all you get in this line. If you go with a bastard sword, you have to take the exotic weapon mastery. If you go with a dwarven war axe and you are a dwarf, you don't need this. Alright? A dwarven axe for a dwarf is a martial weapon, not an exotic weapon. So it falls into this category. Now we absolutely need the action boost haste. This is amazing. It makes the game less boring because you can kill stuff faster. We then take the second core. And by the way, just in case you didn't know, these are referred to core enhancements because they're at the base at the bottom. And this is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5. You can only have one tier 5. So you have to pick this one, or this one, or this one, for some reason. Next, if you wanted to go there. I wouldn't, but hey, you do you. This is extremely important. Kansei Tactics. It used to cost 2, it costs 1. It gives you +3 to DCs of your tactical abilities. This is an absolute must. We're also going to take the next step. As you can see, the next step requires us to have weapon focus slashing weapons. We took that if you remember correctly. So if you were in the leveling process, you probably could take this, no problem. We then have access to the third core enhancement, which is strike with no thoughts, that increases our gives us +1 competence bonus to critical damage multiplier. This is basically what you have to get. Most classes, if not, well, almost all classes, with some exceptions, have a +1 to competence threat range and 1 competence bonus to multiplier. So every class can increase the critical profile of their weapon of choice. We take another one of this one. This requires weapon specialization, slashing weapon, which is what we taken before at level 8 or 6. I forgot. Go back and watch. Now we take the strength power up here because strength determines the DC of our tactical abilities. So we want that as high as possible. And then we have more points we can spend. We can take these three. Now, you might be tempted to take this one. It's 15% fortification, +3 saving throws, and +15 HPs. But remember, you are quite squishy. You might notice you are going to take a lot of damage. Now, this might be interesting, and this is definitely not something you want. Agility is absolutely not good. Why does it say in light or no armor? It's not in game. Did they change that? Okay, well, take this one then. No problem. If you don't want me to take that one, I don't know why it says that. I did create a purple dragon knight and they did not have the light or no armor. Maybe I misremember. It doesn't really matter. Take this conditioning. It's great. Your main saving throw for a warrior is fortitude. You get a boost to fortitude. HPs and fortification is always good. So this also works. So whatever. You're gonna still take a lot of damage. Now, we have two choices. We can get more damage with criticals, or we can get an extra attack. This reduces an opponent fortification. It might be good later on in the game. Now, if you want to have more clickies, go ahead and pick this one. If you don't want to have more clickies, go ahead and pick this one. This allows you to have a +3 to confirm critical hits and critical hit damage before weapon multiplier. Because we have a +1 over here, our greatsword is going to have a ×3. So this, being a +3, becomes a 9 damage boost on your critical hits. Quite handy. This is especially good if you play with a weapon with a very big critical threat range. More criticals, this gets more use. If you don't like this idea, you take this one. Either way, you need to get to 20 points in order to unlock tier 4. Tier 4 is where we need the greater weapon focus feat, or can say specialization. So we take this one. We took this one, if you remember, at level, where did I take this? At level 8. That's why some builds require you to have level 18 fighters, like 8 fighter, 6 ranger, 6 monk, something like that. Don't remember. Regardless, you need that. We took that at level 8. So at level 8, we can put points in here. Take this one. Now, take another point in strength. That's fantastic. We can take this one if you want. Now, this is great. You gain 20 melee power for 6 seconds. Deals 3W damage. Basically, it's 3 times the base weapon damage. Or it's not really like that. It's a little bit more complicated. Some weapons will have different dices if you upgrade their W, but it's more damage. You only have 2 charges. Regardless, you need to get to 30 AP spent if you want to get the tier 5. So you need to find some way to get 30. Now you need 30 to unlock this one at level 18. No matter, just keep putting points into whatever you feel like. Now we need 6 points. So we can take this one that costs 2, this one costs 2, and this one does cost 1. So we don't really get much out of it. So we need to find a way. Now, extra action boost cost 2. We can take this one and we can spam the ace boost much more often. So we can take this one and go to 3. And now we have access to these 3. Now you probably at this point, because we got up to level 12, you don't have access to this one. You only have access to this one. So take what you can in here, but ideally you want to take almost all of this. Now these 2 abilities you probably will need because you need to reach 41 points to take the well, actually we don't, because we take 2 levels of paladin, so we don't have access to this one. So for now we're gonna leave this as is. Okay, well, let's go back to our leveling process. Can I put this somewhere? Like, yeah, let's put it down here for now. So at level 14 we're gonna take more feats. We don't need to take more of this stuff. This gives me a +2 damage with weapons. Let's focus a little bit on survival. We can take the champion that gives me heavy armor champion that gives me 12 physical resistance and 12 magical resistance. And this is important because so far we've been very squishy. Probably you are traveling with a cleric, hireling, but still you're very squishy. So heavy armor champion it is. At level 15 we can take more things. We don't want to add any of this stuff. Okay, we're fine here. Okay, this is all spell casting stuff. We don't want this. We don't care. You don't care. So next we have the heavy armor master. This gives me 9 physical resistance and 9 magical resistance. Go with it. So far with 2 feats we got 21 physical resistance and 21 magical resistance. This somewhat mitigates the damage we take. And for 2 feats, it's great to have. Now, we are now at level 16, guys. Level 16, we have a little bit of a choice. Not really. We take Tactical Supremacy. That gives us 8 bonus to all tactical DCs. Meaning our stunning blows, which we took at level 2, and our trips are extremely powerful. Very powerful, and if you go with a Bastard Sword and Shield or a Dwarven Axe and Shield, your Stunning Shield will get this bonus too. Although your Stunning Shield is already good and probably does not need this, you're gonna get a good DC. You are like as of now, you have 41 DC on your Stunning Blow. You have 10 plus your Strength modification of 8 plus your Stunning bonus of 23 that we got from this 3 line. That's great. Let's go ahead. Level 18 is where we're gonna stop and assign the remaining points. Level 23, avoid the heavy armor combatant if you can. It's just 6 physical resistance and 6 magical resistance. Now you can go a little bit wild. Now, we can take, if we want, or if you feel like crazy, you can take the Force of Personality trait that we did not take before, or you can take the Greater Weapon Specialization, Slashing Weapon. Whatever you take, you have 2 feet you can distribute. Additionally, you can take the Great Cleave if you want more AoE options, but because we're already at level 18, I'm not gonna waste a feat on Great Cleave. And I'll explain this to you. Because at level 20 you have access to epic levels. Epic levels gives you access to more trees, and you will be leveling from 20 to 30 in Fury of the Wild using the Epic Strike Cutter. That ability, coupled with the Primal Avatar Mantle, allows you to destroy entire groups of enemies with the press of one button. I will not go into the details, you will see for yourself. So I do not recommend you take Great Cleave at this stage of the game. So what we can take is Force of Personality, and we can take an extra damage from this. Greater Weapon Specialization, Slashing Weapons. It's a +2 and gives me melee power, which is always good. Now, this is where I want to change the class. How do I change the class? I don't know. How do I change this class? I want the Paladin. I don't want this fighter. It's very... okay, I want maybe this. What was that supposed to be? I don't know. I want to be a paladin. Paladin. What is paladin, guys? Paladin. No, that's not what I want. I want 18 fighter. Okay, 2 paladins level here. We can choose a follower of something here. It's not really important what you choose. You can take a follower of the Silver Flame if you want to use uh, the longbow with a +1. Whatever you take here doesn't really matter. Take a follower of Sovereign Host. Doesn't really care. Don't care. And level 20, we're going to take a Paladin level. Now, this is the heroic side of things. Let's finish up our enhancement tree. All right, now that we have access to this one, we will take this one. We will switch this one for, why do you say no selection? I am a paladin, bro. Why is there a stream top face here? Whatever. I need to, where is my paladin? Oh, because you put it there. Oh, you son of a gun. No selection, no selection. No, just no selection, no selection. I'm gonna go here so you can all see. Knight of the Chalice. There you go. That's the tree we're looking at. So we want this because what I want from the Knight of the Chalice is to get right here. This requires 5 AP spent in the tree, but gives me access to a trance. A trance is basically, a battle trance is a way for you to increase your attack, damage, and DCs, getting an insight bonus. So it stacks with your normal bonus. It doesn't stack with other insight bonuses. But, you know, and you require spell points to use this. So at this point, you probably have a very minute spell point pool. I do recommend you get a wizardry item somewhere, slot it somewhere, just to give you enough points to use this ability. If you don't have that, sure, don't go over here, don't use this. Use the Sacred Defender. We're gonna set that up later. Now, we got everything we wanted from this tree. Now, optionally, you can take these 2 abilities. A good death, when a target falls below 35%, 38% health, deals 500 damage, scales with 400% melee power. Sure, it's very situational. You may take it, you may not. I'd say ignore these 2 things for now. Good death is also another ability. It's a guaranteed critical. Alright, it's a +20 critical threat range, which gives you 500 damage, which scales with melee power. Sure, if you want to deal a critical every 20 seconds, pick this one. It's gonna take into account strike through, so you can have like multiple targets attacked by this thing. I'd say nah. Let's go into the Stalwart Defender because that's where we want to be now. We want to focus a little bit on sturdiness. Now, we're gonna get hit basically every single time. So I want to increase my chance of not dying when something bonks me in the head with stuff or pointy stuff. In here, we're gonna find some stuff that we don't really need. We don't really need the action boost. We already have our own action boost. We're gonna take a little bit of this just to progress, you know, through the trees. We need 5 points to get our defender stance. This is a stalwart defense. This is a defensive stance. So you can only have one. You can either have this one or the paladin defensive stance or any other defensive stance. You can only have one. Take it, love it. Next, we're gonna increase our saving throws when we are in our defensive stance. Here you go, you get a 3 competence bonus to all saving throws. And then we can go a little bit above and take maybe another one of these. And we can take this one. We don't need this one. All right, we want to get this one though. So let's just take this one. This is good if you have a sword and shield or a dwarven axe and shield. If you don't, this is going to be useless, but we need to take this. And now we have access to tier 3. Now, obviously, we want strength. As always, strength is good. Then we want to improve our defensive stance. We take the first one that gives us strength, which is right here. We power it up to the maximum rank so we can get a 6 competence bonus to strength. And that's gonna skyrocket our damage and our disease for our tactical abilities. Now we want to go even further. So we want to take 1 more points here. We want to give 3 more points into this 3, and we don't really have access to much. Now, the last option is threat generation. We don't want threat generation. We don't care about threat generation. We don't want the tower shield maximum dexterity bonus. This is useless. This might be good if you're going with the tower shield build. If you're not going with the tower shield build, maybe you can take this one. The armor you equip gains 3%, 3 to enhancement bonus. It's 3 to armor class. I mean, it's good, but not that good. Okay, so take this one, and that should give access to a 10% quality bonus to maximum hit points, which stacks with the 25 competence bonus to maximum hit points from the Kansei. So you have a total bonus of 35% hit points. Now we want to increase our greatest stalwart defense to get the constitution value, because we already have a competence bonus to hit points in the tier 5 of the Kansei, so we don't need to take this one. We need to take this one, competence bonus to constitution. There you go. And now we can take another strength point just because. Do I want to take the strength point here? Okay, we have spent like 58 points, so that means we have 22 points to play with. I think we can take another one of this. You gain 15% sexual. Okay, this is not bad, so we can take this one. We need 30 points. Just put more strength in here. Now, if you wanted to be really snazzy about it, you can take some positive healing amplification. With the amount of healing we get nowadays, unless you're playing on Reaper or high Reaper difficulties, I will worry too much about this. But please keep in mind that you need a lot of this stuff if you want to play competitively at high Reaper levels. In Elite or Reaper 1, you don't really need that because you don't have much self-healing aside of Second Wind. And usually people can fully heal you, no problem. So what we can do is we can take the trance. So let's go ahead and put points into Knight of the Chalice. We need 4 more points, by the way, in here. So what can I take here? We can take this one, improvement to armor class. Sure, it's not gonna make a difference. You're gonna still get hit every single time, whatever. And to round it up to 30 exactly, we can take the Stalwart Defenders with defense that removes the penalties from that and give me a 10% action boost to movement speed. We can then take this one, which is the exceptional bonus to armor class and 20 physical resistance rating. Great stuff, take it. Now, we have 34 and 31, so that means we now have 65 action points spent. For a total of 80 action points, we have 15 action points to spend, so we're gonna take stuff. And we want to take stuff like Strike Through. This is very important. I'm gonna take this one. We may want to get this one, but I think for the amount it costs is nothing I will take. Alright, this is a +2, yeah, nah. I'm gonna take this one. This is very important. My additional uses of Smite Evil per rest. It's something that I will explain to you if we get there. Now, Knight of the Chalice. Now, please keep in mind, if you don't want to go, if you don't want to take the Cleave ability, you can take the Knight of the Chalice Exalted Attack. But you will be taking this at level 20, because you need 2 levels of Paladins, because this is a tier 2 ability. So we're gonna skip this. We're gonna get 2 more points into extra smite. And that's about it. Oh, we don't get the... Oh man, I forgot. That's stupid of me. So let's do this. Let's take this one out. We don't need that. We are gonna take this one, sure. In this case, we're gonna take this one. Sorry guys, my bad. Completely my bad. Now, we got this one. We can take this Knight of the Chalice Adept Combatant. We have some leftover points. So we have 4 points available to spend. Where can we spend those points? You guessed it right, guys. Take any ability from this one. Melee range power, sure, go for it. And we can take 1 AP right here to get the 20 positive healing amplification. And then you can take anything else. Please keep in mind that this leaves us exactly with 1 action point left, which if you've been playing with a tower shield, with a Buster Sword, you can put the point in here. So this build works even if you have a Buster Sword. And eventually, later down the line, even if you have a 200 sword, you can switch to a Buster Sword with epic levels, 23 if I'm not mistaken, or 26, 23 I think. So you can take this one, or if you did not take this one, you can take another thing. You can take, for instance, Deadly Strike or a Good Death. Doesn't really matter. Place it wherever you want. Take this one, for instance. It's fine. So we got 80 points. That's great. So let's take the announcement down because the build is literally complete. So is there a way to preview the build, how it's gonna end up? Well, we have 42 on the DC of our stunning blow, not considering we can put items in here. All right, so level 21 is, I mean, do you really want to go into this one? Well, sure. Let's go into this one. Level 21, we can take more stuff. Overwhelming critical is absolutely a necessity, so take this one. At level 22, what I like to take, which is not here, probably because we're not high level enough. Well, double strike is great, but you can take other things like perfect 200 fighting. You can take this one, and this is great. So take this one. Level 23, you get nothing. Level 24, you are going to get, what is it? I was looking for eerie aim because I find eerie aim to be great, but we don't have it. Probably because we don't have dexterity. It's possible. I don't know the requirement, but usually whenever I see that, I take it. I don't care. I need the 2 hit, and that's a 10 2 hit. Now for this level, we can take something else. What can we take? Bulwark of Defense doesn't really give you anything interesting. There is nothing else we can take here, as you can see. Nothing I will take, personally. Let's see down here if we can get something. We have the Master of all the stuff that mages do. There is power critical, and there is nothing else you can take. So perhaps it's finally time you take the superior weapon focus slashing weapon. Okay, level 20 something. What? Level 25. Level 25, we have elusive target, crush weakness. Oh, crush weakness is very good. It's plus 15 damage versus helpless, which is amazing, amazing without the A. We also have tactician for a plus 2 to tactical feats, but at this point I will go more for damage. At this point I will take either crush weakness or I will take double strike. Go for crush weakness because you're gonna stun things. Take this one. Level 27, you are going to get a very nasty feat. Now you can go with blinding speed, which takes care of many things because it gives you permanent speed. Most items in the boots category will give you the same enhancement bonus, so you have to decide whether you want this bonus permanently and don't have to worry about your boots, or just ignore this and take anything else, really anything else. What can you take as a fighter? Well, I don't see anything here that is interesting to me, but you know, I don't see any epic reputation. No, epic damage reduction is 10 physical resistance. You can take this one if you want. It's 10 PRR. I mean, sure. This is a big pile of mage stuff. We don't care. Yeah, there's nothing much you can take at this point. I wonder if that's because I did not set my epic destinies. We should probably set this up. So for epic destinies, before we proceed, why no selection? Oh, I have to place them here. So I want the Fury of the Wild as first one. Second one, I want the Primal Avatar. And those are the first 2 trees we're gonna work with. Now, I'm not gonna suggest these are your final trees, but for the leveling process from 20 to 30, you're gonna need this one. You're gonna need Thorn, sure. You're gonna need, this is the Epic Strike, right? Epic Strike, we don't want the Epic Strike, so take anything that gives you, maybe the Cocoon is fine. Get something else. What is this? It doesn't even tell me what it does. Take whatever, you know. Don't do I want this? Well, sure, why not? Should give you, no, don't take this one. Take the mantle. You want the mantle. This is the spell. I want the mantle. Uh, yes, this is the mantle. Basically, every 5 to 6 seconds, each time you attack an enemy, you are gonna proc this damage. And because you're gonna have elemental weapons, you're gonna have the damage you need for this one, which is acid and something else, which this thing refuses to show me. Whatever, it's fine. This is your starting setup. 8 points in here. You should have like 4 more points. So 1, and guess what? I'm gonna take the cutter. Quick cutter is amazing. That should give us a starting place for your epic destinies. Like we have spent 12, if I'm not mistaken. 4 and 8, that's exactly what you're gonna start with. So with this setup, you can now level up, and during your leveling up process, all you have to do is improve your Fury of the Wild. Now, for your third option, you can go with either the Grandmaster of Flower or the Legendary Dreadnought. Now, if you go with a Legendary Dreadnought, you have access to eventually Tactical Disease and whatnot. If you start with the Grandmaster of Flower, and this is not permanent, your Grandmaster of Flower, if I can find it, there you go, it's a flower. Shocking, I know. Which is somewhere. Where is my Grandmaster? Bro, can I have a Grandmaster of Flower? Thank you. You can start getting a +6 to your stuns in this enhancement 3. This one, tier 1. That's a +6 bonus to your stun. Alright, so you start with this, and you go past a group of mobs, turn around, drop your cutter, your quick cutter, your mantle will proc, and you lay waste to an entire group of enemies. Now, I think at this point you will have enough understanding of how the game works. But for the leveling process, please be sure to have this basic setup and then increase everything else. Now you may want to go into the Divine Crusader if you are using if you want to switch to a Bastard Sword and you don't have the proficiency. That should give you that, make the Bastard Sword a favorite weapon and should give you proficiency if I'm not mistaken. But as far as I'm concerned, by this point you should be able to play by yourself, which is a weird thing to say, but you understand what I mean. Alright, so we put this one right here. We don't really need that anymore. So level 27, we need to get something, right? We were talking about these feats. Like I said, you take whatever you feel like taking. There's not much goodie in here. So my recommendation is to either take the epic damage reduction or take the blinding speed. For the purposes of this video, we're gonna go with blinding speed, so I don't have to worry about boots. This is very important. We have another chance at getting an epic feat. So what we can get here is nothing good here that I see. You can take double strike. Double strike is good, I would say, because it gives you +5 double strike. You want to look at damage so you can clear quests very quickly. And for 30, at this point, you can take another feat. There's nothing much here, I would say, that I will take. So put whatever you want in here, and you know, it's probably gonna be good. At this point, you're probably gonna looking at reincarnation. So whatever you place here doesn't really matter. Sure, wanna take great strength? Yeah, sure, take great strength to increase strength by 1 at this point, or maybe take toughness. You You wanna go with it, take toughness. There you go. And the legendary fit, this is your Scion. Scion is a great choice that you can make, but you have to be very thorough. Now, these things I do not recommend for a fighters. Shadowfell, no. Now, there is the Astral Plane that gives you dodge and dodge cap, but I would not recommend that because that's more for the thief category. So what you can choose is the Arborea that gives you more damage, 20 melee ranged power, a +2 to the tenacity of your weapon, +4 fortitude, 1 imbue dice, which you probably don't have. So in here you take whatever you really want, I suppose. I don't see much. This is mostly... Oh, you can have this one. A Scion of the Ethereal Plane, lesser displacement, ghost touch, 66 sneak attack dice, 5 melee and range power, +4 to your skills, and a permanent invisible guard as per effect. So yeah, I would probably recommend you take the Ethereal Plane over the Arborea. Arborea gives you only 15 melee power more compared to the Ethereal Plane, but here you have lesser displacement, so you don't have the items that gives you lesser displacement, 25% concealment. You get it from here for free, and you also get a Ghost Touch for free. And 66 sneak attack dice that scale with melee power. So every time a monster does not face you, does not attack you, you don't have aggro, you're gonna deal 66 sneak attack dice. So take this one, trust me. I don't know why you will want to go past 30. You can take a epic destiny feat, whatever. But for the purpose of this build, I'd say you're pretty much set. As for items, you're gonna be looking at items with accuracy, deadly, stunning. You want to look at maybe Vertigo if you want to use Trip 2, or generally speaking, Combat Mastery is less effective than Stunning and Vertigo, but you only need one item instead of having Vertigo and Stunning. You're also gonna be looking at Seeker. You're also gonna be looking at Deception if you want to deal damage and you're not taking damage. You want to be looking at Strength item, Constitution items, Sheltering items, mostly physical sheltering, but you know, because magic sheltering will eventually be capped, but look at sheltering items. A dodge, you could probably get a small dodge item, like you can get up to 6% or 8%, depending on your maximum dexterity bonus and the Sacred Defender tree that improves your maximum dexterity bonus. But I would say those are the items you're looking at. Vitality, Force Life, Profane Life Force, those are the 3 items for your HPs. And what else? Set bonuses. You also want to look at set bonuses. Now, obviously, as a free-to-play player, maybe you don't have anything. You're only looking at maybe the Lord of Dust item set. That's the only thing you're gonna have access to. I would look into Barovia or Sharn. Those gives you item sets. Honestly, I would take Sands of Manectarum if I were you as a first package, because Sands of Manectarum gives you access to level 11 items that can be taken to 20 and 30. There's a plethora of items, there's a raid, and the set bonuses only require 2 items. So, unlike the Barovia or Sharn set that requires usually 5 items. Anything else for items, guys? I think you need a charisma item. Now, keep in mind, charisma will increase your will saves. So, the higher charisma you can get, the better. You're gonna cap out on the paladin saves when you reach a +6 modifier, which is 22. More than 22 charisma will only give you will saves and not general saves. That's the fighter build with a human. This is your first life. Second life, you're gonna get 32 points, so you can get more stuff like 12 dexterity, and the feat distribution might look different, but for the purpose of this video, you know, actually if you reincarnate, you're gonna look at 34 points. You're gonna skip this step, so you can have more points. With 6 more points, I will probably look into 18 strength, or maybe you can put those 6 points into something you feel like you were lacking in the previous life. And if you start with a fighter, obviously you're gonna get a +1 to your DCs when you reincarnate from 20 to 1. So it's always good if you're playing a melee class. So 3 fighter lives is what I recommend. Then you can play with Paladin and then with Barbarian, and then you can make your final build. So as you can see, this is not a very simple build. It's not like a pure class, but I think it's a very good build because it gives you that Paladin juiceness. And yeah, I would give up gladly the capstone. It's a 15% double strike, but I do get other things like a battle trance, for instance. Now, if you don't want to go into the paladin and you don't want the 6 general saving throws, you can go with 1 level of favored soul, which gives you the same thing really, and you have more AP to spend because it's placed on tier 1 instead of tier 2. So you can go with 1 level of favored soul and 1 level of maybe mage. I don't know why, but you can do that if you want, or can take a level in anything else really that you have access to. But I think this is a simple build, but not so simple, but it's simple. You will take damage, so bring a cleric with you that will keep you alive. Use stunning blow, use trip. Stunning blow obviously goes on champions or casters. You can trip casters too, that's effective. Trip obviously works less effectively against archers and the rogues because they have innately higher reflex saves, and stunning blow will work less effectively on fighters. So if you could prioritize, I would say trip, fighters and mages, stun, rogues and mages, priority. If nothing is available, you should stun whoever you want. Crowd control everything you want, but be sure you crowd control. Okay, so this is the build. If you have doubts, let me know. I will try to answer as knowledgeably as possible, and take care. Bye bye.